Jill's aspect sounded promising. She agreed not to mope and tried to wheedle a promise out of him to not do any yard work or watch any football. Now that was pushing it. How about I'll help you grade papers if I can watch football? She'd cocked her head, a spark lighting her eyes. I'll see your football and raise you steaks on the grill. Deal, he'd said, before she could change her mind. Turning onto their street, he touched the garage door opener and smiled. He would never voice it while she was still missing the kid so much. But he was beyond happy they'd finally reached this milestone. He'd loved every minute of raising Evan and Katie, but he was ready for it to be just the two of them again. He tapped the brakes, waiting for the garage door to open. Jill's car wasn't in its bay beside his. It was after 5:30. Her conference in Kansas City had dismissed at noon, and it was barely a 5-hour drive back to Sylvia. Maybe she'd decided to pick up a few groceries on her way home. Probably got stuck in a slow checkout line at Schnucks. But she usually called if she was running late. She knew he worried about her when she was on the road. He pushed the remote, savoring the satisfying grind of the garage door going down on another work week. Before he even opened the door, he heard TP's toenails clicking on the kitchen tile. The dog pranced a circle around him, tongue and tail wagging in unison, proving that 3-year-old 50-pound chocolate labs were still puppies at heart. Mitch deposited his briefcase on the island and bent to administer his daily dose of affection. Hey, boy, where's Mama? He refilled the dog's water bowl and checked his cell phone for messages again. Nothing, but the answering machine on the kitchen phone was blinking. Odd, they rarely used the landline. Jill usually just texted. Maybe she'd remembered he had a meeting this afternoon and didn't want to bother him at work. He grabbed the thawed steaks from the fridge and played back the message while he mixed up his famous steak marinade. Hey, babe. Jill's voice filled the kitchen, easing the tension he hadn't realized was forming behind his temples. I'm rushing to get packed and checked out of the hotel, but I should still be home by 5, 6 at the latest. Tell TP I'm bringing him home a little treat. Her voice turned sultry. I might have a treat for you too, Mitchell Brannon. TP sat at Mitch's feet, his head cocked, as if he understood every word. The lab was Jill's dog. TP stood for teacher's pet, although after a certain Halloween, when Principal Brannon had been a target of trick-or-treaters, she'd started telling their friends that it stood for toilet paper. Mitch chuckled at the thought, while Jill's cheery voice continued on the answering machine. If you don't mind getting the steaks started, I'll stop off and pick up some salad stuff. Maybe a loaf of that French bread you like from Panera. Love you. I can't wait to tell you about the conference and other stuff. It was... She giggled, and Mitch could almost read her thoughts. She was thinking about how much grief he always gave her for leaving soliloquies when she used voicemail. Never mind, she said. He could almost see her rolling her eyes. It was just a really good experience. I'll tell you all about it when I get home. She sounded good. Really good. He'd worried a little that Jill was taking Katie's leaving harder than she should, moping around the house like a mama cat looking for her kittens. He checked the display on the answering machine. She'd left her message at 1:15. Even allowing for a stop at the grocery, she should be home any minute. It was plenty chilly for a fire. Perfect. He went out to the back deck to bring in some of the wood he and Evan had cut last time they were at the lake cabin. He got a fire started and lit some candles on the mantel. He wished he'd thought to pick up flowers on the way home. Candlelight and roses were usually just the ticket to a romantic evening. Though recently, with the pressure of getting Katie off to college and getting her own classroom ready for the school year, Jill seemed ticked off by his overtures more often than not. But he would take the risk tonight. Surely she guessed what his hopes were for their first weekend in a wonderfully empty nest. When she still wasn't home at 6 o'clock, he called her cell phone. Voicemail again. Hey, babe. He cradled the phone between his ears.